muted unless speaking to minimize background noise. We ask that you use your raised hand feature. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, there's reactions. Inside of reactions, you'll see the raised hand feature if you have a question or a comment that you need to make. The call will be recorded. So once we get started, we are going to record the call, and then I would ask that everyone acknowledge that everybody comes from a different place, a different set of experiences, and maybe even some different perspectives. And we will respect all opinions and all voices in this meeting today. So we will share mutual respect to everyone who decides to share. Okay, so I'm going to first do the poll. And you'll see a pop-up on the screen with a series of questions. And I would just ask for you to complete the questions to the best of your ability. There is one question I just want to highlight. It asks you what county that you are in. Some people confuse that for country, but I just want to clarify it's the county. And so I will release the poll now for you. So I'm just going to give a minute or two for everyone to complete the questions, and then we will close the poll and share the results. Okay. And to highlight the first question, it asks basically if you are a family peer advocate, if you are a supervisor, if you are a supervisor but you do not have a family peer advocate credential. So basically, if you supervise advocates but do not yourself have a credential. If you are any other type of peer support worker, if you are a state employee with a family peer advocate credential, or if you are a state employee without a family peer advocate credential. You choose the option that best suits you. I'll be giving another minute and then I'm closing the poll. Okay, just a few seconds more. Okay, so I will be closing the poll and sharing the results. Here we are.
We just had one person come in.
Oh, someone's coming in?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the individual that just came in, if you can just send me a message, maybe letting me know what county you're in and if you hold a family peer advocate credential. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the poll. All right, so welcome to our TA Fridays. And we have TJ who will be presenting to us today. TJ is our family training coordinator here at Families Together. He is also one of the co-founders of Youth Move National Incorporated, and he is a father of 4 children, and he has helped navigate his children through various systems. And so he's here to talk to us today about gratitude. I'll pass it over to TJ, and TJ is going to introduce himself further.
Thank you, Crystal, for that introduction. As stated, I am the family training coordinator with Families Together. Almost been here a year. Whoop, whoop. So, in spite of this holiday coming up, Thanksgiving, I figured let's talk about gratitude. This is something in the work, a lot of work that we are in that sometimes we don't even congratulate ourselves, give ourselves gratitude. Also, we don't even know necessarily how to provide that gratitude to the families we're working with. So this is just kind of a reminder of how to show gratitude to people around us, people we work with, and the importance of it and how it affects us and can definitely promote a sense of healing and belonging if we could just remember to treat ourselves and other people with gratitude. All right. So without further ado, let me get this underway, and I will. Oh, here we go. So, can everybody see my slides? All right. So, gratitude and family peer advocacy and empowering families and advocates. So, I know a lot of people don't really look at gratitude as something as empowering. Most people just say thank you or I appreciate you. But this goes a little deeper into what these actually mean. And when we are conscious of how thankful and grateful we are, it really um, it helps motivate us and empower us, as I said before, to be better at what we do and how we take care of ourselves in our everyday life. So this, I'm going to start off with a question for everybody. Well, what does gratitude mean to you? Anybody can raise their hand, come off the mic. I can start for me. I know gratitude means to me is I'm thankful to be where I am, and I'm thankful for the people who are impacting my life in a positive way. Very few people do cheer me on, but I also have those few people who remind me of my successes. I need to take a minute and look to see how far I've come or the things I've accomplished. I'm one of those people that keeps going and going and going, and I will burn out if I don't. So also, gratitude means to me is taking a step back before I burn out and giving myself a congratulations and being thankful for those people who are able to witness my growth and my success. So I know in the chat, appreciation. Stacy said appreciation for the roles that I have, the roles and the roles others have in my success. Yep, warm and friendly feelings for others, and appreciating what I have and who I am. Very good answers. So, what is gratitude? So, gratitude is a quality of being thankful, a readiness to show appreciation and return kindness. So, to show our gratitude is not always just saying thank you or having words. Sometimes our actions will be the one that leads that gratitude. Whether it's could be as simple as being an ear for someone who's venting, or taking someone else out to eat for a change who might be struggling, or someone who's always buying stuff for somebody else. You have those givers constantly giving. Is to take that moment and let them know I see you. So for me, gratitude also comes from my cultural aspect. So I was just talking to Crystal about it, that in Hawaii, when we say aloha mai, everyone knows aloha. We ever see the movies, whatever, but it goes a little deeper than that. Aloha is more than just hello and goodbye. So when you say aloha mai, it's I see you for who you are, and it leads into how are you. So it's really I'm trying to get to the root, the spirit of this person. So I'm not just talking to the professional. I'm not just talking to my mom. I'm talking to this being in front of me who has emotions, who has feelings, who's living everyday life. Don't know your battles all the time, but I want you to know I see you. And if you need something, that's the aloha spirit. Like I will be there for you. So why are we talking about gratitude? As I said earlier, sometimes we forget to understand or witness being grateful, or how do we demonstrate gratefulness. So gratitude is essential because it promotes a positive mindset, strengthening relationships. and enhances well-being. By focusing on what we appreciate, gratitude shifts attention away from challenges, helping individuals build resilience and maintain emotional balance. So, as FPAs working with families, I often did this without really recognizing it. But when I started to develop this, I started to see how I was able to do this. When we work on the strengths of our families and we pinpoint them and we congratulate them, it's a form of gratitude. Now, what this does is mirrors a response of success in their lives, but in other people around them. And by this, we learn a tool to help lift each other up. And it does help us to be, like I said, for myself, I've been on the verge of burnout many, many times until I've had someone tell me, hey, why don't you take a step back? This is what you accomplished this. You did this in this amount of time. Did you get a chance to sit back and just breathe? I got to get back to my emotional balance. I got to find my equilibrium. And number two is in a family and peer advocacy, gratitude fosters trust, connections, encourages open communication, helps families to recognize their progress, even during difficult times. For advocates, practicing gratitude can reduce our stress and prevent burnout, while for families, it cultivates a supportive and hopeful environment, empower them to navigate challenges with a greater optimism. And I believe a lot of us are victims of when we see our challenges, we automatically think and breathe into life the negative or how long it's going to take. So this is to get us to remember that it doesn't matter if it's hard or there's obstacles, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And at the end of the day, it's going to foster healing and growth. But let's look at it in a positive light. Therefore, the work that we put into it won't be nearly as hard. And we'll be able to take that time and really see our successes. Excuse me. So the benefits of gratitude, it improves mental health. Enhances physical health. It boosts happiness. Lisa, you have a question.
I think it's also important to add, and this is something that I do with my son because he's um special needs. So he, the regulation piece is like, okay, it's not going to be like this forever, right? Whatever we're going through, there, you know what I mean? It cannot be prolonged for, you know what I mean? It might
Yes,
hurt right now, but you know what I'm saying? That it's not going to stay painful. You just kind of got to ride it out. So,
I agree. Oh,
yeah.
thank you for sharing that. There's a saying for one of my favorite movies, The Crow, when the girl is complaining about it raining all the time, and then the protagonist states, "It can't rain all the time. There is a light at the end of the tunnel." And I'm glad you brought that up because my son, who I'm the biggest advocate for, he's also his biggest critic. And he, for some reason, he's like, why is life so hard? Why is it A, B, and C? Why can't I? And I'm like, you got to take things with a grain of salt. And mind you, these kids, if you, they're a different generation. I'm like, we had no phones. We drank out of the hose. We had all these, and our parents worked a lot. Some of us were, was it door latch key children? Now we're in a time where parents are more around, maybe too helicoptery. But I tell them at the end of the day, it has been harder. It can get easier. But at the end of the day, what I have learned is if I keep talking negative and pushing a negative narrative, my life will always look like that. And I used to be a really negative person. So when I started to find my own happiness and forgive myself for some of the stuff I put myself through, I got to find happiness. And my son has a hard time like, how can you be happy when this is going on? You should be angry. You should. But I find that through my experiences, good and bad, I am grateful because one, I want to be the person who I am today. Two, I probably wouldn't even been in your life if I haven't gotten through these obstacles and worked on myself. And it does get easier. Now, being an adult, it's hard. I told him it's going to get a bit harder in some aspects, but some of your challenges now, it's that repetition of building yourself up. It's that repetition of how to learn to navigate, how to learn to deflect certain instances, how to learn to let certain things go. And then once you get past this, you could hey, I did this. I told it was like school. You graduated elementary, now you're in middle school. You have your ups and downs. But once you complete that, it's an accomplishment. Pat yourself on the back. You get rewarded in certain ways. Right? You get rewarded for you doing well in school. You get rewarded for when you complete your chores. There are things that are rewarding in life, and you can get there and achieve it. No, so thank you for sharing that. At least I 100% agree with you. So this is why I kind of came up with the benefits of gratitude because of talking to him. I told about how it boosts your happiness, how it strengthens your relationship with other people. If you're more positive, people want to be around you. You emanate positivity, and people want to feed off of it and share it back with you. And it can be intoxicating and rewarding all in one. But we got to start somewhere. It improves sleep. I'm one of those people. Sleep was almost non-existent, especially when I was going through stressful times. But once again, I'm starting to see my successes and how far I've come. I do get to sleep better at night because I'm not thinking with anxiety. I'm not thinking with my depression. I'm not thinking about the next meal I'm going to eat. I have successes. And that's what I try and pass on to my son and other people who might be going through hard times. And enhances self-esteem. People who are grateful and thankful tend to feel better about themselves. And the real thankful, the ones who aren't just saying it because they're being polite, the ones who you could feel their gratitude. You could see, you could even hear their smile through the phone. If you don't see them. There's certain things that we pick up on. And that self-esteem, we can pick up on it when it's genuine and when it's real. And then fosters a sense of purpose. I think as humans, we have a hard time with, what's the meaning of life? And a lot of us have a hard time. What's my purpose? And we want to ask everybody else what our purpose is. So what I learned to say is something that you can work with your families and, however you want to take this information. To find your purpose is just to be in this moment. What allows you to vibrate higher? What means something to you? And how does it feel when you're happy or someone is showing you they're grateful? What does it resonate in you? And in this work that we're doing, we can find our purpose, right? And in our everyday lives, your purpose it's not set in stone though, right? So there's certain purposes we have, whether it's to help people, uplift people, educate people. There's different categories under the umbrella. But if you could find that sense of purpose within your gratitude, it's going to open up new doors and opportunities for you. So I love this, the inhale love and exhale gratitude. I thought that would be fun to share. So there's a science behind the gratitude. So in positive psychology research, studies show that practicing gratitude is linked to increased happiness, improved relationships, and enhanced emotional well-being. Those who practice gratitude, their relationships last longer. They have stronger bonds with their children. Depending on your work environment, if you have a good work environment, your work can be promoted in more positive ways than not. There's a neuroscience findings. Gratitude activates brain regions associated with reward and positive emotions, promoting feelings of joy and satisfaction. The physical health benefits. Research indicates that gratitude can lead to better sleep, reduce symptoms of illness, and lower levels of stress hormones like cortisol. So just to touch on this a bit, cortisol is that stress hormone that your body releases and tends to help us put on more weight. Um, However, if we are practicing gratitude, uh, lower it when we're negative, we lower our frequencies, and life is about frequencies and vibration. The higher our frequencies or our happiness or our gratitude is, we vibrate higher, and thus you are less likely to get sick and develop additional ailments because some of the number one reasons we get sick is poor thinking, negative thinking. Your body doesn't know the difference. Your cells react to that. And hence you see some people who are almost like chronically ill with depression or, colds and stuff. A lot of this benefits situations, arise when a lot of negative self-talk, putting ourselves down and not taking that moment to recognize who we are, that we need love. We should be thankful and grateful for just waking up. because some people don't. Resilience and coping. Grateful individuals tend to cope better with adversity, showing greater emotional resilience and are more optimistic and have a more optimistic outlook. And the impact on our relationships. Expressing gratitude has been shown to strengthen social bonds, increasing feelings of connection and trust between individuals. So, gratitude for FPAs and self care resilience boosts our well being. Practicing gratitude helps FPAs manage our stress and anxiety, enhancing overall mental health and emotional resilience, preventing burnout. Regularly reflecting on positive experiences and successes can combat feelings of overwhelm, reminding FPAs of of their impact and purpose. Some of us get lost in the jargon and the hustle and bustle of our days, and we don't even know when we get burnt out. And a huge portion of that is not just the time that we spend in the work that we do, but also not congratulating or seeing our successes with the help that we provide our families. Because a lot of our families I know we have worked with have some success stories because of the impacts of what we made in their lives. Fostering community is sharing gratitude with colleagues and peers, creating supportive networks, strengthening connections, encouraging collaboration and advocacy work. We will want to work better with people who are appreciative of the work and the words that we have at the table as to the ones who are dismissing to us. And this, and again, even if they are being dismissive to you, there's something we can learn from that. So be grateful for that experience because we get to, read the room. But that doesn't mean we internalize it and make it our burden. Enhance motivation. Acknowledging the contribution of others and celebrating collective achievements can reignite passion for the advocacy mission. So if your supervisor, or your peers, or another organization that heard you present or did a workshop, or even family members are or they recognize what you've done or how you've helped them, it should boost you up and give you a sense of accomplishment. And encouraging reflection. Setting aside time for gratitude allows FPAs to reflect on their personal growth and successes, reinforcing their commitment to self care. Right. So when we came in, we were one way. 6 months, a year, 2 years down the line, we're no longer that same person. You shouldn't be that same person. You should have been able to grow, adapt, learn other skills, tips, and tricks, and more importantly, watch the success of the families we work with. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. So just remember that sometimes we may not win, but that's not necessarily a you situation. Sometimes our families aren't ready to win and succeed. Some need more time to dwell in whatever aspect that got them there in the first place. And our job is to provide the tools and know that we're doing our best. And the fact that we stick through it, especially if there's a timeline up until the end, you did the best you could do. And sometimes it's just not their time. It doesn't mean it's your fault. Does anybody have any questions or comments or want to chime in before we move forward? All right, I'll keep going. So, gratitude for our families and building positive relationships. So, enhancing communications. We kind of touched on this earlier when we express gratitude. It encourages open dialogue within our families, creating a safe space for sharing feelings and experiences. A lot of our work is pertaining to active listening, asking those open-ended questions, but more importantly, that show our families how successful they are, especially if they brought through negative experiences and they brought you here today. They might not be in that same position that led them to this point. So by taking the time for us to acknowledge that on them, they'll give them the ability to acknowledge their successes as well, and maybe just be a little lighter, a little nicer to themselves. So it also promotes strengthening bonds, regularly acknowledging and appreciating each other's efforts, fostering deep emotional connections and trust among our family members. In the line of work that we do, trust is one of those. Um, we can't get anywhere with our families if we're not trustworthy or trustful. So it is a two-way street. And if we could develop these bonds and show our appreciation for who they are coming into our lives and allowing us to work with them, they will in turn, hopefully, because everyone's, you have a choice, will show and it will acknowledge, thank you for your help. Thank you for being here. I was so overwhelmed. I didn't know about this. So many of our families don't know what services are out up there. And just for you even providing resources will get you a thank you. But showing that you're consistent and trustworthy will give these families the world. Promoting a positive atmosphere. Cultivating a culture of gratitude within the family can reduce negativity and conflict, leading to more supportive and nurturing environments. So, in what we do, I try not just with my families, but at home, we have something called check-in night. So, what we do is we go around the table and we talk about our day or something something that's going to happen in the week. And in that, we get to see where we are succeeding, where we're failing, who we like, who we don't like. But in that, it leaves room for open communication. And everyone, you wouldn't believe the stuff that comes out of these children's mouths if they feel they could be valued, heard, and not judged. And I'm telling you, like sometimes I wish I didn't open that filter because I'm like, did you just say that? But sometimes our kids have no filters and they're just, but it also goes to show how secure they are and what type of people they're going to grow into, right? And it's just because they understand I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful to hear what they have to say. And they also, my 6-year-old will tell me, I know you've worked very hard, Dad. You should go sit down. What 6-year-old is thinking about telling their parents, I see you working, I see you struggling, maybe you need a break. So I'm doing something right. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. If a 6-year-old can acknowledge how much work I put in, I have a 2-year-old who tells me, Daddy, be careful. Even if it's this little somebody's walking down the street or going to get her baba at night, it definitely motivates me to be better and take care of myself because I'm living for somebody else. Lisa, go ahead.
Okay. So I forgive me if I'm the annoying one. I'm new, newly credentialed. I'm not working yet. So a lot of my questions I always want to tie to a practical sense. And I know that you mentioned that, you can't always win with families. And I've heard that in other trainings about people working with different families and them not getting it. But I'm also looking at like the timeline, like I just went through fans and it's like 30, 90-day timelines. And I'm like, okay, are we managing expectations with the client to say, because realistically, it took more than 90 days to get them into that crisis situation. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's going to take more than 90 days to get them. I mean, we may be able to get them relief, you know what I mean, where it's not so painful. But when we talk about fixing or whatever that is, whatever that goal is, I'm just talking. So
All right.
leave
And I'm
that.
glad you brought that up, and you're not wrong for that. I would like to turn that client into family. First of all, when we're working, there are families. They're not our cases, So let's try and keep that in mind, and that's going to
I
really
didn't mean any disrespect
no,
by
no,
that.
no,
Yeah.
no. This is just generalization. I'm not calling you out as you're in trouble, but no, let's keep this in mind. So yes, continue on the organization you work with. There could be a timeline in which you're able to provide the services and why this family's here. Some organizations will prolong whatever is needed for the family because they might not be getting it yet. This is something that we also discuss with our supervisors, if at all. If you are in a crisis setting, though, you're kind of very limited and you might be credentialized to be an FPA. But contingent on what's going on, you might not have the time to keep working with them. So, in that, as our job as FPAs or working with our families, we want to be able to point them in the right direction so they can continue service. And your job would be to follow up, even if it's not they're not your casework load or your family load anymore, whatever your organization calls them. But it's to make sure that the family's being heard and valued, right? And if it's not working there, we could still to take time and say, oh, well, this is not working. Well, I have this other place for you. They do this. I will help bridge the gap, or can you do this on your own? Hopefully, by some point in time, we've fostered some type of self advocacy. And if they need help, we're still there. But the objective is to make sure that know they're in control, they're in the driver's seat, and we don't want to just pass them off if we cannot help it, right? So take the time, follow up on the family, make sure you set your boundaries of when they could call you, especially if they're not your family anymore. But just to let them know, I'm still here for you. I still have additional resources if you need it. And if this place is not working out for you, it's not one end all be all. It's like therapy, right? Some
Yeah.
places work for you, some don't. And it's okay to stop going there and look for someone else who's going to hear you and support you and what you need, right? So our goals and our strategies should always be around the family. If that organization that they're going to now is not goal oriented for the family, they're not allowing the family to drive, it's not the best place for them. So in our point in time in our work, we should have an understanding, especially with our resources, who we're going to allow our families to go to and who we shouldn't, because we already have some feedback from previous families we worked with. Now, if you're brand new, again, this is why we like to come to these places, especially our PEP trainings, to solidify collaboration with other organizations throughout the state, see what's working, see who has stuff. And that way we could really begin to monitor and guide. So to answer your question about, they might not be ready, might not have anything to do with the organization. Some people are still just fighting their own battles or dealing with their own demons, if you will. And our objective is to provide that peer support. You're not alone. Teach you advocacy. I will advocate for you while you're here as best I can. But the ultimate job is you're driving, and I will support you. I will help you with your goals. I will help you set up timelines, however long you think it's going to take, because those are subject to change always. Just because you told me 6 months, it might take longer, or you got there shorter. Guess what? Pat on the back, fine. If you need more time, the fact that you realize this and you could come back and revamp, that's still a win, because we're recognizing what we can do, what we cannot do, where our strengths are, and what we need to develop more on. So that's not even call them weaknesses, just areas of improvement. So if we have these things in mind, it shouldn't really matter at the end of the day. As long as you did your job and you know that you kept this door open to at least provide resources, you make sure that they understand what the resources are, you're doing a phenomenal job. You're not failing. Just sometimes people take longer. It's like special education, right? Some kids need to learn differently. Doesn't mean they're slow or they can't do it, as opposed to their peers who possibly just get it. But the ultimate goal is that they both walk past that finish line so they can graduate. They just might need extra stuff and they might need extra time. All right. You're welcome. Empowering family members. So recognizing each person's contribution helps build self-esteem and encourages everyone to actively participate in family dynamics. And creating that shared experience is most important in line with the work that we do. Engaging in gratitude practices as a family, gratitude, like someone talked about taking their staff to dinner. Um, Sometimes we might have in our organizations, we will have on a Friday night in a previous organization, we'll have families come in and we'll give them dinner, and just kind of a celebratory thing, and encourage sharing daily appreciations. When they come in, I appreciate this happened. I appreciate you did this for me. It reinforces togetherness and mutual support, meaning it's a collective of people coming together for the betterment of the family and the community. Our work with our family is not just, it is for the youth. Well, along the lines, our work should reach the community. I believe holistically as FPAs, we want to develop our communities as well, because it should be the village raising, helping the family as the family raises the child, right? So it should be trickling down in cross communication and education. So, incorporating gratitude in peer advocacy. So, we want to model gratitude. FPAs can openly express gratitude to families for their efforts and participation, setting a positive example of fostering a culture of appreciation. So, if they see you how you interact with your peers, and your peers went and got a document for you, or maybe one of your peers had to help out with your family when you went on vacation or you were sick. Oh, I wanted to thank you, and usually in front of the family too, if at all possible. It's kind of like working with our families at home. We could say anything we want, but unless we're modeling this behavior as something that we're doing every day, people will pick up on it and they will start to mirror that image because they see how helpful and impactful it could be, which leads into celebrating progress. Acknowledge and celebrate small milestones and achievements in families' journey, reinforcing their hard work and resilience. A lot of them, when they go for therapy or a lot of other services, they're not going to get that. But it's our job to foster that and help them recognize you've come a long way. You should be proud of this, that these are your other goals and you're going to make these. And just, give them that pat on the back. We need it at times too. Gratitude and communication. Use appreciative language in interactions, focusing on strengths and success rather than their challenges to build trust and a rapport. So that's, even if, like said the other a little earlier, we want to acknowledge where they need improvement, but their strengths will be the focal point, will make all the difference. So that way, when they start looking on where they may need more support, they'll be able to backtrack on how they got to this place in the first place. And if they're not sure, there are resources to help strengthen them in those areas so they can improve. That they can't just say, well, I'm just good at this and that's it. No, you could be great at this too. You could be great at this too. You just might not have the tools. And with practice, you will get there. Create gratitude rituals. Establish a regular check-in or meetings where gratitude is a central theme, allowing time for advocates and families to share their appreciation. So one of the things I used to do as a youth advocate, more so than a family peer advocate, would be we'd have a check-in once again, usually Fridays, and we want to know what's going on. We want to see where you were struggling before because you probably brought it to our attention, and you let us know where you are, and then we're telling you how proud we are of you, how strong and resilient you are, and to one vocalizing what's going on, but two recognizing that you need some support, and then the fact that you're actually going to go through with learning the tips and tricks or techniques to help you get to the place that you want to be. Oh, I graduated. I got an A on my test, or I was able to find time to go out with my mom for an hour, so I could check in with her. Right? These are all areas of accomplishments, and we want to let them know it's not going unseen, it's not going unheard, and you're doing a great job. So by setting a set of time, whether it's going to be once a month or uh, quarterly, or just that phone call, hey, just checking in on you. I know you said you were doing this, or did you had the interview? How did it go? That's a form of gratitude. It's about that someone cares other than them, right? So let's try and keep this in our arsenal when working with families. The feedback loops. Encourage families to share what they appreciate about the support they receive. We need that check in too, right? So it's kind of like those surveys we do, but sometimes just a verbal one would work, helping advocates understand their impact and adjust their approach accordingly, right? There's no cookie cutter style. Every family we work with should be treated different. And if we are doing this to the best of our ability, um, we will be appreciated by every family, or just about every family that we come across. So this is something gratitude practice for FPAs and families, something that we should do. And I think we're doing this, and we're actually asking our families to do this. It'll be one of those things, such as sharing our stories, um, to let our families know we've been there, we understand, we're here to help you. So gratitude journals. Encourage writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day, focusing on both big and small moments. Like I said earlier, like I'm one of these, I have to do this more often. I journal, but I never thought about journaling for gratitude. Now, when I do my affirmations, I am thankful, but it's a little different when you write them down. Gratitude letters. Write a letter to someone, family member, friend, or colleague, expressing appreciation for the support or positive impacts. I actually have something kind of similar for that later, so I will show you all. Um, Gratitude circles. Regularly gather family or peer group to share something each person is grateful for, fostering connection and positivity. Gratitude reminders. Set visual or digital reminders, a post-it note, a phone notification to prompt daily reflection on gratitude. Sometimes we might need that till we have this repetitive enough where we don't need it, right? So we just need to create that habit. And gratitude walks. Take a walk with intention of reflecting on things you appreciate in your surroundings or in life. Encouraging mindfulness and perspective. Um, I know a lot of us believe that we're too busy and we have so much going on, but all it really takes is 5 or 10 minutes of your time. Maybe leave your headphones out, or go to a park or go sit on a bench and just think about where you could be, where you have been, and where you are now. And again, give yourself kudos, give yourself a pat on the back. And one thing that I know for what helped me when I was FPA or YPA is I always knew it could be worse because I've been in worse situations, you know, and therefore I'm really grateful at my opportunities to have work, to have decently good health, to have a home, place called because I've been, a little bit about me. Before I became a YPA, I was in foster care. I was homeless. Now COVID came, and I had that experience again as a grown up. Now, what kept me going, because there's plenty of opportunities where I could just have tapped out and said, forget it all. Um, I've been here before. I got through it, so I should be able to get through it again. I'm not a lost cause. Um, and I haven't, I didn't have to go down a negative light to get to where I am. Now, did I beat myself up along the way? Of course. Have that pride. You have a family, you feel like a failure, and but what I did do in those points in time would take walks with my dog and start recording some affirmations and thoughts, and indirectly trying to get other people who might be in a different light through my social media to start thinking more positive. Even though I was hurting, even though I was, down on my luck, I was almost 100 pounds bigger than I was now, and my health was. I still kept trying to push the narrative of self care, taking care of yourself, to love yourself. That most of these things are stepping stones. And if you're a spiritual or religious person, I always kept that in mind. The Most High gives, the hardest things to his strongest soldiers because our purpose is to do something to help our neighbors, love thy neighbor. If I can't love myself, how can I help you? So this definitely helped me in my gratitude walks. And I was grateful because people are actually listening. I'm like, who's going to listen to this, broke person, lost his job, got a family, can barely, but people were listening and people were cheering me on. So I got that dual gratitude and process to move forward. So overcoming challenges and practicing gratitude. Acknowledge those difficult emotions. It's okay to experience frustration and stress. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring your challenges, but finding small pauses in every even during tough times. So that's what I did. So it's just a little something. I mean, I'm sure everybody else has something that they can do, something that they're working on. But even if it's a moment, just waking up is an achievement. Being able to put food on the table is an achievement. um, doing well on your homework assignment if you're back in school like me. I I'm my biggest cheerleader, but my family also cheerleads me on. You got that A, congratulations. 6-year-old, you always get A's. It wasn't always that way, you know, but I'm succeeding. Refrain from negative thoughts. I can't reiterate this enough. Encourage shifting the focus from what's wrong to what's going well, or what can be learned from the situation. Everything we do should be a learning situation, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you cannot see something to learn, unfortunately, we repeat certain instances. And this is what we want to try and prevent from happening. We don't want repeats of the same negative situations that got us here in the first place, if at all possible. But even if that's the case, what got you here? How did you get through it before? And what could we be doing differently? And hopefully, even if something similar came along, it's not the same. And we have the tools now to make sure we're no longer in this place longer than we have to be. So there's always something that we can learn and take from. Start small. When feeling overwhelmed, begin by appreciating small, everyday moments of success, which can gradually build a gratitude habit. So one of those things is when my children are getting good grades, or my daughter's really good at coloring in the lines now, but she does amazing, by me giving her these graduation or gratitude verbiage, to see her smile makes me happy. When even my 2-year-old tries to, I did my homework assignment. Obviously, we know it's she's doing the best she could do, but she's so proud. So the fact that she's so proud, I'm proud, and I know that she's going to carry that further into how she grows up. That her success is hers. She has the ability to share it, but I also let them know not everyone might not be in your corner, but that shouldn't take any away from your success. Allowing my children know that. Start small, see your accomplishments, see how far you've come, pat yourself on the back because you're worthy. You are worth it. Consistency over perfection. Gratitude practice doesn't need to be consistent. Being consistent with small acts of gratitude is more important than doing it perfectly. We all will slip. Sometimes we won't hold ourselves to the best of our abilities when we fall, but just try and keep it in mind because it's something that we want to work with our families on. You have many successes that should and often do outweigh your negative experiences or places where you feel that you haven't succeeded. So just work on these little tidbits that help you be more motivated and self-care and being thankful. The bigger self won't be as big anymore because you'll be developing this armor and this way to talk to yourself, to develop your frequency, to develop who you are, and just understanding it can't rain all the time and the sun can't be up all the time. Somewhere at a point in time, we have to rest. We have to take a moment. We have to reflect and try and go to bed without negative thoughts. Like tomorrow's a new day to start fresh, right? We have these new beginnings. And support networks. Let's rely on family and friends or peers to remind each other of positive moments, especially when it's hard to see them on your own. Like that saying, you never know you're in the woods because you're standing in the forest, something along those lines. Things will happen. But if we have a nice circle or a triangle of support, and some we can bounce ideas off of, it will make the world to you and to see how far you've come. And we are part of that support network for the families we are working with. So if they might not have immediate family or the families across country or whatever happened, they don't have friends for whatever reason, you could be that support person and show them how to be that support for themselves. And our families have family members. Teach them how to be that support for each other and themselves. And therefore, that network will grow and they will get the support that they need for success. Excuse me. So, the role of gratitude in advocacy and healing, we want to promote emotional healing. Gratitude helps families focus on their progress and strength, even in difficult times. They know it just because it comes to that door for a week or two. They know they haven't completely healed. They know they don't have, but it's something. So it's promoting some type of strength in them, and it supports emotional recovery and resilience. Reframes challenges. Practice gratitude allows families and advocates to view setbacks as opportunities for growth, promoting a more positive outlook on challenges. Our challenges shouldn't be something why we stop moving forward. It should not be a reason why families don't succeed. You just have a bump in the road. You slow down, right? When you see those speed bumps when you're driving, right? So you take that time. That's what that means. You just might have to move a bit slower when these challenges arise. And once we keep getting over these humps, we could, I mean, I wasn't suggesting your real car to go faster on speed bumps, but maybe those speed bumps won't be there anymore as you move forward. Empower families by recognizing their efforts, celebrating small wins. Gratitude reinforces families' sense of agency and encourages continued engagement in their healing journey. Once they start feeling those wins, they're going to want more. They'll be more thirsty for more. They're going to want to be driving completely on their own. They want to advocate for themselves and their family. Supports advocates' well-being. FPAs who practices gratitude are better equipped to manage stress and prevent burnout, and enabling them to provide more effective support, and strengthens the advocacy process. A gratitude-centered approach helps advocates and families build trust, foster collaboration, and maintain hope during their healing processes. So, gratitude as a tool for connection. We want to foster trust and bonding. Expressing gratitude strengthens relationships by creating a sense of appreciation, mutual respect between FPAs and families. We encourage positive communication. Gratitude shifts focus to positive interactions, helping families communicate more openly and reduce conflict. They're not going to be speaking as negatively or as doubtfully about their situation. Building emotional connections. Gratitude allows families to advocate and acknowledge each other's efforts, enhancing emotional support and connections. I see you trying. I see you working hard. You're doing a great job. Keep going. Strengthening advocacy. When FPAs express gratitude toward families for their participation and progress, it motivates continued engagement and reinforces collaboration. You're grateful and thankful that they showed up and you see their progress, they're going to want to keep coming back. And also, they're going to want to work better in their community and with their families. And shared gratitude moments. Simple acts of shared gratitude can cultivate empathy and solidarity, building deeper relationships within families and peer advocacy. So these couple of questions I want people to kind of come off and share, non-judgmental, but what is one thing you're grateful for? And I want to know what it feels like when someone is not grateful for a service or that help that you provided. How does it affect you? So the kind of, oh, go ahead, Michelle. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. Lisa, I'm newish myself, so don't worry. Every day I figured out a little bit more as I'm going along. One thing that I'm grateful for is that I have been able, with the opportunity of being a family peer advocate, I have the opportunity to have turned my painful, frustrating, exhausting existence into something that is purposeful and useful and will help lift other people up. So that is what I'm most grateful for. Number two, that is a work in progress since I'm new, and I would love it if I showed up at my house and helped me with things. But a lot of my parents are very suspicious. They, they are not easy to trust, and I understand from their background. I get it. Uh, but I had a parent yesterday and I wasn't able to see her until Friday of next week. And then I was planning on taking her to DSS to complete her paperwork for housing assistance. And she goes, well, if I have to wait for you, I'm going to be homeless forever. And it's like, well, that was like a big, I had to take a, I had to take a breath and I had to, do some self-talk about, she is someone who is very damaged right now and she needs support as much as she can get it. I did suggest to her, however, that if she has time before Friday and is able to make it to DSS, that would be great. We can do something else on Friday. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because TJ, you actually made me think about this. I hadn't thought about it before because there was a lot of examples that you brought your children into it, you know, that you use as well. I like that, by the way, keep doing that. But I was thinking how grateful I am, you know, when you have a child with a disability, you know, as parents, we always talk about the hard stuff, right? Like the things that we have to do and how we have to show up. But I was just like, oh my God, if I didn't have to do all of these things for my son, I wouldn't have the lived experience to be able to have a new career. So I have to be more grateful for him and what he's. I didn't mean to get teary, but it's like when you think about the big picture, like I wouldn't be here with you guys if I didn't have a son that had disability. You know what I mean? So I have to be grateful for that. You know what I mean? Instead of just being like, oh, it's so hard being a parent of a child with a disability. You know what I mean? I got to reframe that. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
You know.
Yeah, sometimes you know, thank you for sharing that because I think what made it easier for my wife and what makes her grateful for me is because I was in foster care. I had an IEP, and then when it came around where my son isn't biologically mine, he needed service. The fact that I knew how to navigate it made her time more, a lot easier, and there was no room for why me or like how could this happen. It's all right. My son has this. My partner's with me on this. He has a bit of understanding how we're going to tackle this together, and we became advocates together on the situation. So then our biological daughter together needed, services too for her ADHD, and it was just that much. So that piggybacking off each other. I had more experience, but she was a fighter. Put us together. We became unstoppable. And like you said, if it wasn't for me being in foster care, I would have been a youth peer advocate. I wouldn't be here with you all today. So yes, I am grateful for the experiences and the lived experience and the continued lived experience that allows me to be here today.
I mean, it's painful. I'm not trying to do a bypass and be like, oh, it was all worth it. You know what I mean? But I lived through it and I learned a lot. And now I'm able to use that to actually, do work in the world and get an income to support myself while I'm doing it.
Of course. No one's saying like, woohoo, I mean, that's not what this is. It's just recognition, pat on your back. You're supporting, you're carrying the weight, you haven't given up. That's what we're congratulating. We're not, laying in bed and covering ourselves with the sun up and always, woe is me, I'm depressed. And no, we know how hard it is, but we are resilient. We've taken these experiences and, we did the best of our ability, but to provide and to provide support and love and nurture. And ultimately, we still get to learn. We're not done learning yet. So there's multiple things to be grateful for because also you wouldn't know what systems are out there. And if someone in your immediate life or they needed help with something or they're about to walk down that path, guess who's there? It's you. You could give them resources. You don't have to take them on as a family, but I know you're going through this. I've been there before. You might want to check out this place. This place has A, B, and C. They're willing to work with A, B, and C. Do you have Medicaid? And then you can keep moving, right? So yes, it's not easy. It's still not easy to this day, even with all my experience, even with my degrees. I'm still a work in progress. We're all a work in progress, but just we have to be grateful for where we are, who we are, and how far and what we've overcome. Alexandra said, I'm grateful for my children, and it feels like I'm not doing my job well. It makes me reflect on how I can do better. I agree. There's one aspect, with my lived experience where sometimes when my children do the complete opposite, no matter how many times I try and drill certain situation in their head. And I talk to them. I was like, I'm not mad at you. I feel like I failed as a parent. And you know what's crazy? It bothers them when I say that. You haven't failed. Why do you gotta say that? I said, well, it's just how I feel. I'm allowed to feel this way. I'm not saying this is a solid truth. I'm not. I am human. I'm allowed to feel. And sometimes when we feel our families aren't succeeding, we might internalize that. When we feel our children are hurting or not succeeding, we will internalize that. But we also have to remember it's not necessarily just us. We just might have to change our tactics. We might need new information and that might need to be taught differently. But that's what I'm grateful for because I see there's not just one path. Like that saying, most people don't like it. There's multiple ways to skin a cat, which is true. It's multiple ways of how we navigate and heal and help other people on their journeys and help ourselves on our journeys because it's not done. We're not close. You know. Anybody else want to say anything before I move on? Well, what did we learn from this activity? I know a couple of people only spoke up and then discuss how expressing gratitude made you feel and the impact it could have on your work and family dynamics. So this is for everybody. You could type it in, please. I'll give you a couple of minutes or come off speaker because I know that I came in this planning to share a little bit of my experience to try and motivate and incite some type of thought. So um, please come off and share or type in what you would like to share.
I just wanted to say the thing that is going to stick with me is where you had gratitude is an attitude, and I see you. Being able to focus on the I see you, that just brought, a whole nother level of gratitude to light. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'm very grateful for refreshers like this that remind us, like those of us who have been here for a while. There are some that are new, but some of us have been doing this for a while. I think I'm going into my 7th year now. And it's always great to be reminded of these things. Like you said, we do start taking it on ourselves and to just remember to refocus, to stay in our lane. Sometimes we need reminders of that. And, that we are doing a great service for the families, and there's a reason why we started doing this service. And sometimes we all just need to be reminded of that.
Thank you, Wendy. So, a personal reflection. What is a specific moment or experience in your life that significantly impacted your perspective on gratitude? And how has it shaped your interactions with others? Anybody, one or two people would like to come off and provide some insight? In the spirit of Thanksgiving, no one has a personal. I mean, you don't have to go in depth or anything, but definitely our experiences have shaped us to who we are. Michelle, you're on mute.
Sorry, I put the wrong hand emoji up. Oh my God. Um, a lot of us did, but I also had a very, very hard time with COVID. My husband and I basically lost our business that was our only source of income for the past, at that point in time, was the past 26 years. And on top of that, raising 3 children that have some very serious mental health issues and being stuck in the house. So I started therapy via Zoom, and my therapist wanted me to work on gratitude. And I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not going to help me. But it actually really did help me, because even though I felt like I had lost so much, I still had so much to be thankful for. I still had a roof over my head. Still had food I could give my kids. I had a small savings, which we don't have anymore, but we were able to use that. And so many friends and family members. I get choked up even now thinking about people that we didn't ask for any help, and people gave us help. And learning about gratitude really helped begin to bring me out of a deep, deep, dark depression. And I'm very thankful for this training because it's been a few years and I've forgotten the power of gratitude. So I appreciate being reminded of this. So thank you.
You're very welcome. In the chat, Stacy said, I learned that it's common to feel like we could be doing more, but understand that we're all trying our best. Nicole said, I recently lost my cousin, best friend, very unexpectedly, which has really made me more grateful for the time with my family. My deepest condolences. During COVID, I lost my mother, my sensei, and my brother-in-law all in 6 months of each other. So I get it, and I wish I had more time, but I am grateful for the time I did have. So that is very and powerful and needed, and we need to remember that. And then Evelyn stated, being grateful can impact your mind, body, and soul in a positive way. That is very true. And Lisa, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I think too, very similar experience. My husband died, we were homeless, and I can say gratitude got me out of that situation, because even though we were homeless, we had a car. There were people that were like, because when you're homeless, the homeless people kind of navigate in the same areas. And there were people that did not have a vehicle that were in tents with their children. Like, and at least I had a car with my son that I could lock the doors. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that thinking got me out of being homeless in dangerous situations, because like, okay, at least I got a car, at least we got food, at least we got, and literally with my son, I was telling him, at least we're together. You know what I mean? Like, they could have came and separated us, at least we're together, so that thinking got me out of being homeless. You know what I mean? A lot of dangerous situations. So
Yes.
yeah. So,
Unique stated, I recently lost my grandmother. My family's been healing. These holidays are going to be pretty tough. I'm grateful for the time we've been able to spend together, to uplift each other. I'm grateful for the support we provide to each other. I'm grateful for the unconditional love. Yes. So in this, leading towards the end of our time, so here's some resources. So they have a grateful apps, Happify apps. You can look into downloading if it's something that you might need or want to pass on to your families. There's a couple of articles, The Science of Gratitude and How to Practice Gratitude, 5 Simple Ways. There are workshops and online courses, and schools, universities provide mindful schools offerings, online courses, things to kind of keep in mind or something you can pass on. Gratitude and advocacy. And in what ways do you believe incorporating gratitude into your work as a family peer advocate can enhance your relationship with families and improve outcomes in your advocacy efforts? You don't have to answer this. This is kind of something generalized and something we could possibly think about on our own when we're working with families moving forward, developing new skills or tricks to really help our families get out of that funk that they might be in, to help them see the light and try and be in it as much as possible, as opposed to feeling defeated and alone. So if we could think about certain ways to improve ourselves, it definitely reflects in the work, and we pass these on to their families. in our advocacy work. So my closing thoughts, gratitude is important. It helps to shift focus from challenges to strengths, fostering a positive mindset and resilience in both FPAs and our families. The benefits for FPAs, it reduces stress, we prevent burnout, we strengthen our connections with families, and in enhancing the impact of advocacy. And the benefit for the families is when they practice gratitude, it improves their communication, it builds trust and creates a hopeful environment, allowing families to recognize progress and navigate difficulties with optimism. How do we practice? Keynotes to take away. Let's try and work on some journaling. Gratitude circles if we can. Expressing appreciation for the small victories that any one of us accomplish, and sharing the gratitude with loved ones are simple ways to integrate gratitude into your daily life. Affirmations. Gratitude affirmations are short, positive statements that help you focus on your thankfulness and lift your mood. While many affirmations start with I am, there's no strict formula. You can craft them in ways that make you feel right or is right to you. Affirmations aren't for everyone, and that's okay. Sometimes people have a hard time grasping this or even putting them in practice. They require effort and consistency. That's the only difference between gratitude and affirmation to be effective. So if they don't resonate with you, it's fine to explore other methods in how we're going to build ourselves up in our gratitude. Additional resources would be the gratitude diaries. Thanks, how the new science of gratitude can make you feel happier, and the gift of imperfection. It's a couple of websites, Greater Good Science Center and the Gratitude Project. And Crystal and I got the luxury at the National Federation Family Conference to participate in PACS. It's an organization that does a lot of work with our families and development. But this PACS tool, it's a free app that we got to download. And in it, it has something called kudos. So you could type a message in there and you could send it to anybody. They don't have to have it themselves. It will gift it as a PACS kudos. And you put in your message what you're thankful for. Or I see you developing this and you're doing great. And so I started too, and I started to even do it this week too, is sending a quick message to certain family members or friends, just thanking them for seeing it and showing them that I recognize your hard work. Even if we don't talk often, I see you doing the great things. I know you might be struggling, but I'm rooting for you over here. Sometimes people just need to hear it. And the fact that it's something different, it's not just a text message, is it's going to a different app and really contemplating on what you're writing. I think it becomes something more meaningful. And I've got a lot of thank yous, and you almost brought me to tears. And it just means something because they were on your mind and you're recognizing how hard they're working for a better life for themselves. So I have some references that I utilize to put some of this together for you. And I am always grateful, thankful, and blessed. I am grateful that you all came to participate this with me, and I'm grateful that you all showed up because I was only starting off with one person, maybe two, and boom. So thank you so much. Evelyn, you have a question, comment?
Hi, is there a way I can have access to this PowerPoint? I would like to share with my coworkers.
I believe so, right? We will be able to, Crystal?
Yeah, after the recording, you will find that the TA call will be posted to the website, Families Together website. And so you can always view it there, and there will be an email going out about it.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. It's not related to gratitude. I just need some advice. Family I'm working with right now, they have a loved one who's struggling with a substance use disorder. I have provided the tools needed. However, the mother, I feel like she is enabling her son because she keeps offering rides for this for her loved one to go to these places where he has access to substance use, where he can get these drugs. How would you approach a situation like that?
That's very. Before I even step in, does anybody else have a similar experience and have anything they would like to share with Evelyn based upon? Oh, go ahead, Lisa.
Take it
You
off
have,
of mute. I just got out of a 4-year relationship with my partner with alcohol use disorder, probably mental health issues. It's tough. It really is. And people can say disabling. Sometimes it is just maintaining your own sanity. If me giving him $5 would avoid a blow up and exposing my son to toxic, obnoxious, because you don't know what's going on in that home. You don't know, because if you're dealing with an addict, if they don't get what they want, they make you pay one way or another. That is my experience. So you can't tell her to stop enabling her son. Yeah, okay, so she doesn't give him rides, but once you leave and go home, you don't know what's happening at night in that dynamic. And it's a dangerous situation. It is a danger. I was in a dangerous situation where if I didn't give him money to go, I knew what he was going to go do with it. I wasn't going to sleep at night. And I was subjecting my child to that. So you know what I mean? It was just like, okay, give him $5, get him away, so at least my son can sleep tonight, because he's got to get up and go to school in the morning.
Thank you
And
for
that
sharing,
is,
Lisa.
yeah,
I
sorry.
just want to
Thank you.
be mindful and remind everybody this training is being recorded. So just that disclaimer, reminder about sharing personal information. Evelyn, if I just have a couple of really quick announcements, and then we can stop the recording, and everybody who wants to stay on to give you some more guided advice without the recording can do that. So I just want to let everybody know that this is our last monthly TA training for the year of 2024. We don't hold one in December. There's a lot going on in December generally, lots of holidays and people taking time off. So we do skip December. We did send out this week a survey on asking questions about these monthly TA trainings. If you received that, we really encourage you to take that quick survey. It's going to help us moving forward in scheduling 2025. So we're looking for topic suggestions. We're also looking for, is this day and time good for the majority of people who want to attend? Should we look at moving the day of the week? Should we look at moving the time frame that we're holding these? So it's very important that we gather that information. So if you have not seen it, please reach out to us. Crystal, can you put in our shared email account in the chat? This is an email. You can reach out to us and we will make sure that you receive that survey. If you haven't received it and you want to take it. So I want to thank everybody for joining us, and for our last monthly training for 2024. And we definitely look forward to seeing you in 2025. I'm going to stop the recording, and if people want to stay on and help to support Evelyn, we can do that.